Well, this one might be pretty quick because it's Colorado Avalanche time, and this is a team that I'm looking now, they have 18 guys on this list, so there's not much to really dig into with Colorado, but I've got something to note. The Colorado Avalanche over the last, I'd say, year and a half, seem to have really pivoted in a direction that I love. For example, they went out and got Gavin Brindley. I love Gavin Brindley. He just kind of had a not so good season, and I feel like Columbus sold about as low as you can sell on a guy like Brindley. He started the AHL season this year coming back from an injury, and I thought in the first few games I watched of him down there, I went, yep, that's Gavin Brindley, that's the guy I love, and let's see what he can do for the rest of the year. And then the scoring just kind of went and ended for the rest of the year. Obviously not a good sign, but it seems like he's in a situation now with Colorado where they value players like him. The other one I would mention is Daniil Gushchin, but at this point he doesn't count. But they did go out and get him from San Jose for Oscar Olausson, who, I mean, at the very end of the day, like, Olausson was not the most amazing AHL player. Daniil Gushchin was one of the better scorers in the AHL last year, so I'm not sure how that makes sense. And there are jobs on Colorado's roster. I mean, last year they resorted to playing Nikita Prishkopov, the guy they drafted in the 7th round in 2024, so there are jobs for Colorado, and I think some of these guys might be able to fill them relatively quickly. The other guy in the depth category is Mikhail Gulyayev, and Gulyayev has kind of struggled to sort of take the reins of an offensive defenseman in the KHL at this point, and he is at sort of the midpoint of his developmental pipeline in terms of age, so I hope for a bigger season offensively from him this year, but whenever I do get to watch Omsk in the KHL, I still love Gulyayev. He's a great skater and a really confident and skilled puck carrier, and I feel like the points are just a matter of time, and even if they don't come, he plays a style of play that I think could really work in the NHL as that sort of offensive, dynamic defenseman that maybe doesn't score a ton, but enables offense for the rest of his team, if that makes sense. In the maybes category, there's a surprising number of players here. I think Sean Barron still has something in the tank. He's getting right up there in terms of age in this, and his season was completely wiped off the map last year thanks to injury, so hopefully things come a ways with him. In this tier as well, it might surprise some people, but I've got Tori Pittner and Linus Funken here. These are just solid, rangy defensemen that play good defensive hockey that I think could find a way into the NHL one day, even if Tori Pittner only had 1 point this year. I like how he plays. And Christian Humphreys with the Kitchener Rangers this year, I thought looked really good. I saw Kitchener quite a few times in person, and Humphreys was really jumping off the ice to me. Again, I'm not sure about an NHL player, but there is something there with him that I think was much better than where they drafted him last year would indicate. So we'll see what happens with him, but there's some good skill here. All three of their goaltenders are in here as well. All three were goaltenders they drafted in 2024. Ilya Nabokov has, as expected, come over to North America after another good season in Russia. We'll see where it goes. Goaltenders are always a question mark, and while I've kind of liked Nabokov over the years, I'm not really confident in him being an NHL player. Luka Kluche did not have the most amazing season, but neither did the Chicago Steel, and I think all things considered, he played okay in the games that I saw. And speaking of very similar things, Ivan Yunin. Yunin did split the season a little bit and played some men's league hockey this year, and he was always a long-term bet. Now, I have had some experience with Colorado and have had the luck to ask about these goaltenders, and it was really interesting because the argument that I got was they drafted those goaltenders so that Nabokov would come over quickest and probably chip in the soonest. Luka Kluche would come a few years later and play college for a while and maybe grow and grow over the years. And Ivan Yunin was their long-term long shot that they just love and are betting on long-term. And based on all three of these goaltenders, that seems to be perfectly in line. So while Yunin wasn't amazing, he didn't play a whole lot of games last year anyway, and this year jumping from limited MHL use to the VHL is a big jump. I'm really curious to see where it goes though, because Yunin is still a tremendous amount of fun to watch in net. And then you've got everybody else, and there's just a lot of guys in here. I mean, there are some that I think maybe could turn out to be something. Guys like Max Coran, maybe Francesco Del Elche, Nikita Ishimnikov. These are all guys that I've kind of liked, but I just don't know about NHL level players. Similarly, I could say the same thing about a Graham Sword. Nikita Prishkopov is down here, and I never in a million years thought he would be an NHL player, but he was last year for a stretch, but that doesn't really mean he gets upgraded in tier. So we'll see where it goes, but for for this team, there's just a lot of whatever, and this is a team that's also just drafted in the middle of nowhere for a number of years in a row. So for the Colorado Avalanche, I'm going to be giving them a 2C. I thought about giving them a 1F here because I love Gavin Brindley so much and they got him for very little. I like Gulyayev a lot and have really high hopes for him. And it's not in the database anymore, but Daniil Gushchin I think could be a fantastic addition that maybe San Jose will regret down the road, because I think he has the talent and there are the jobs open on Colorado where he might be a pretty decent player next season, but he is too old for this database, so I couldn't really factor that in. But all things being considered though, guys like Sean Behrens and Torrey Pittner and Linus Funk and all three of their goaltenders are still really intriguing options that they've bet on, and we'll see how that goes for them. But for a team that is really focused on winning a Stanley Cup and has not really drafted a whole lot over the last few years, they've got some good players here and they get a perfectly mid rating. And with that, we're going to call it. If you liked the video, definitely like and subscribe. If you really liked it, definitely consider a subscription over at Scouching.ca, where you can get access to all kinds of fun data tools and our Discord server and plenty of other fun stuff that you're just not going to find anywhere else on the internet. So check that out at Scouching.ca. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.